Hi everybody, this is still Marr here, and before I start this video, I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has commented on the I need to talk about this video, where I talked a little bit about my problem, like my like trying to think good, positive thoughts, or putting myself down. Just, making that video was kind of hard, but I felt really good at the end, and everybody's kind words, whether you commented on that video or met with me in real life at work and talking to me and stuff like that. It felt good releasing that video and talking about my dilemma. Granted, I gave it the most clickbaitiest title ever in my 6 years of YouTube, but I couldn't really think of anything to really title it. But it felt really good, and I really appreciate all the kind words. And I'm happy to say that for the past 3 weeks since I posted that video, has it been 3 weeks? Close to that time, I've been doing good. Now granted, there was a point last week where one of my friends was not talking to me as much, and I was worried that I made him mad or made him upset, but I didn't let it bother me. I just prayed for that person, and he's doing a lot good. He wasn't mad at me. There was just some stuff going on, and I am improving a whole lot. There has maybe one or two spots where bad thought did come in, but I've been doing tremendously better, and I'm hoping to continue making that change. But now getting back to the subject of this video here, this is something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while, because being on YouTube for 6 years is shocking to me. I'm surprised I'm on YouTube for that long, and I don't intend to stop because it's a great hobby. I still have many types of videos I want to make, stuff that I want to experiment and try to entertain you guys, but also make content that I feel proud of making and stuff. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming up in the future that's all in due timing and stuff. But I figure I make these type of vlogs time to time, where I want to talk about a little bit about some of my old video series or my opinions on YouTube, or just stuff that I wouldn't really put on a Daryl Marshall episode. I just think I'd just make a quick little vlog video talking about it. And I think no other place to start these type of vlogs would be to talk about this, my logo. I know it seems kind of weird, but there's a point to it. Hold up. For anyone who's watched my room tour, you may have noticed I have this hanging on my wall above my Azura picture, and it's pretty much a little cell thing of Walt Disney drawing Mickey Mouse and stuff. And there's a quote here underneath that says, "I hope we don't lose sight of one thing. It was all started by a mouse." And for that, I mean, you could take it as like, them of him remembering how his success started, of how he became bigger than he could possibly imagine in the animation and film industry, and to remember where it all started. And I think it's important to remember some of the stuff that you started with and keep it close to heart, because sure, yes, as you evolve, you change over time, and when you're back to some of your older stuff, it's kind of cringeworthy. I trust me, I know that, but it's also important to remember some of the heritage of some stuff. And I just think that the logo that I made is a fun little history lesson, a bit of a silly one, but for me, it's sort of a fun little history lesson. And not to mention, it's one of the things that a lot of people, because there's been some fan art I got where people drew my logo, and I mean, I know it's just a studio logo, no big deal, but there's a fun little story that goes along with it. And it can all be traced back to when I was in 8th grade of elementary school, and this was like, 2008, so I want to say like 9 years ago today, my goodness. At my elementary school, there's a tradition they have with the 8th grade class, that close to the end of the year, like around May, they take a field trip to Washington, D.C., where they go around, like, going to, like, different museums, memorials, and exhibits and such. Go there for, like, 3 days, and I remember that being a lot of fun. I don't usually get out of town that much, especially out of state. I rarely do any traveling. So my trip to Washington, D.C., even though it's been years ago, was a tremendous time. It was also extremely hot up there because, unfortunately, when my brother went, when he was in 8th grade, he said that it was freezing up there. So he told us, like, rain jackets and stuff, but when we were up there, And this was at a point in time where the only pants that I would wear was sweatpants. I could not, for the love of my life, wear regular jeans. I had to wear sweatpants because they were more comfortable. And unfortunately for me, when I got up to Washington, D.C., it was extremely hot. Apparently the cold spell died. And unfortunately me and some other friends were like melting. And I was like, gosh, I hate sweatpants now. And there was a lot of great exhibits that I love. I liked the museum that they have, which is a museum that's about news outlets and all that stuff. Going to George Washington's mansion or house, that was a lot of fun. And there was a lot of great other exhibits. There was one exhibit at the Smithsonian that was closed due to they were rebuilding it, reorganizing it, and just rebuilding it up. Which is a shame because that museum, I think, is the National Museum of American History that was being reopened, well, like being reworked and stuff. And it's a shame because I really wanted to take it here because they actually had some of the original Muppet props that they used. And I would have loved to use that, but I had to go to the Natural Museum of History, you know, with like the dinosaur fossils and stuffed mammoths and stuff like that. So I was kind of disappointed, but it was still a great trip. Now, what does all this have to do with the logo? Well, pretty much we were at the point, before we actually went to DC, the teacher was talking about a little bit about each memorial, and she went on to talk about the World War II memorial. And near the end of when she was talking about it, she mentions that there was like a little secret hidden Easter egg in the memorial, where in one part of the memorial that's like closed off section of it, there's a graffiti that's hidden in the wall that has this weird man hanging over a wall with big nose, and the text reads, "Kilroy was here." And without getting too much into the history, because there's tons of other videos and topics that cover more detail of the graffiti, it's pretty much like one of the most earliest American pop culture and memes to come out of World War II. And pretty much like, if an American soldier was around, sometimes they'll just put like that graffiti up, and it became really popular, and it's still around to this day a little bit. There was some media, pop culture stuff that do mention the graffiti time and time again, and in several different countries, it's basically the same but different names. Like Australia is Fu was here, the United Kingdom was Chad was here, but pretty much it's just a little fun little meme. And when I saw this meme, I thought, well, that's pretty cool, you can have to say, because for some reason, don't ask me why, but I got obsessed with this graffiti art because, I mean, it's simple, but I thought that it had like a really fun little design, and plus, not to mention, it's a guilty pleasure of mine to have little Easter eggs pop up. It's like one of those little Easter eggs that you try to look forward to see if you can find that little hidden item. It's pretty much like with the visitors from South Park, where the animators will hide the visitors around in certain scenes, like in the background, one of those type things. And I just got really so in depth with the graffiti, drawing it so many times, and discovering a whole lot of history about it. And that was actually one of the big highlights. It was the second day there, and when we were at the World War II memorial, the graffiti was right there hidden, and I tried looking for it. It's like, okay, where the heck is that graffiti? And luckily, some of my friends were able to find it, told me, and I took a lot of pictures because I don't know why, I just really got so much with the design and the purpose of it. And I just really loved that graffiti. In fact, funny story here, one time, this was when my brother was working at Tractor Supply. There was like these old trailer hitches that had dust on them and stuff. And so I decided to draw like Kilroy was here on the dust, and this was in the store. And that following night when Chris came home, he said, "Well, thank you for almost causing a stir almost, because a lot of customers apparently saw my doodle of Kilroy was here and was wondering, who's Kilroy, who is that?" And I just remember that as a fun little memory. And I just really love that drawing design of Kilroy. Again, I don't know why, it's simple, but I just really liked it. Now, when I started YouTube on my Daniel the Tank Engine channel, my original mascot, I guess mascot would say, was this tank engine that had eyes and mouth but no nose. don't know why I didn't add a nose. I didn't knew how to draw train faces at the time. But when I started the Delmar show and stuff, I figured it was time to create like a new logo that would satisfy me, and I didn't think of anything else but with an illustration of Kilroy hanging over the wall with the Mullins Studios, and that's just been my main logo ever since then. And again, I know it's stupid to think about, to be heavily inspired by the simple meme from the 1940s of this thing that happened, but I just really admired the Kilroy graffiti. And again, there's tons of other history channels and stuff that talks more in depth about the graffiti and stuff, but I just really love the simplicity of it, and how it reminded me of back when I was really interested in that graffiti, and I decided to just use that as my logo because it's like a hidden Easter egg to always spot, because even if you look at like some of the walls and stuff like that, you might see this graffiti of Kilroy hanging up over like in like a graffiti on the wall, or even hidden in several TV shows and stuff like that. I just really liked it. And yeah, I guess that really wraps up this little vlog for today. It's simple and silly, but I figure I start these off with something. So I might talk about a little bit about some of my past shows, like I may take a look at Mullins retrospective, even though it's cringeworthy a little bit to take a look at some of my older stuff, or talk a little bit about just my opinions on like YouTube and stuff like that. Whatever in case, I hope you guys enjoyed this little fun history lesson about the logo, and yeah, just thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye!